Actually, this course is about the theories about media effect, right? So, for the first half of the semester, in terms of the media effect, this class examines a lot of different theories more focused on individuals. So how the media, influence the individual levels. So we discussed very famous theories such as agenda setting or priming and framing. And also, in terms of agenda setting, we talk about, second level agenda setting and the reversed agenda setting. Those kind of the, theories more focus on individual levels. And, a little, different dimensions and levels. We cannot say just roughly individual levels. So I said the, most of the time knowledge levels more focus on agenda setting, more focus on knowledge level, the attitude, and behavior. So some theories is more focused on knowledge level rather than other dimensions. Other theories focus on behavior levels, for example, priming. So from now on, as a, second half of the semester, we will give you more time to talk about industry and society levels of the new media and new media technologies. So we mentioned the knowledge gap, theories and digital divide. More focus on, the society levels. And today is another part of the impact of the new technology on society levels. So we'll talk about general effects of the new media technologies. So I'll talk about a lot of issues and, several communication theories we can talk in the part of the, these lectures. This is actually, things we mentioned many times. The impact of the new media technology is most part of the technology impact is desirable and direct and anticipated. But that's not, everything of the impact of the technology. It's sometimes undesirable and indirect, and the unanticipated impacts is going together along with the, positive sides of the impacts. So we mentioned that this one, in terms of the paradigm and perspective, utopian paradigm about the impact of the technology and anti-utopian of the ones of the technology. That's actually better of the paradigm and perspective. It also is related to desirable versus undesirable. So stereotypes most of the time, undesirable, indirect, unanticipated impact of the new media. So we'll talk about stereotypes more specifically later, but stereotypes is another terms, is a negative side of the media impacts. So we must have special precautions and concerning for these two opposite impacts that are going together as we live, and also we witness that today. So now I give you more specific, themes, specific topic of the impact of the social levels or industrial levels of the media technology and media, and this is actually my selections. Very first of a selection of the keywords. We'll talk about this. Unemployment. I don't know how many of you actually agree with my selection of the keywords, why unemployment is the most important impact of the new media technologies. This is actually, I'm seeing this keywords as more negative terms, right? Negative terms. Once actually, I had the interview with the reporter of the daily newspapers in Korea, and I mentioned that now it's late. Steve Jobs, he died last year, October. Now it's almost 1 year, 1 full year, and I mentioned that Steve Jobs, it's very important guy, an important person in information technology history today. And he was born 1952. It's the same year of the Bill Gates actually was born 1952. So 1952 is a very historical date, historical year. Actually, two important figures gave birth in the same year, and the Steve Jobs is not the same guy and same background of the Bill Gates. Steve Jobs more likely uneducated person, and he was born and adopted to the blue collar family, and then he gave up the college educations, and he just worked for the a small Silicon Valley companies, and then later he made very first personal computer we call the PC. Very first personal computer is called the Apple, right? That's actually first personal computer is a PC we call today. Now it's very common, and we are very familiar with the small personal computer systems. But 1970s, and Bill Gates actually for the first time he made very first generation of the Apple that became the actually personal computer revolutions. And the Bill Gates, it's a little different way. He worked a different way. His family is rich and very famous finance, high rich and educated peoples. And also he went to Harvard University, right, as you know. Even though the Bill Gates and Steve Jobs is very similar not different historical background, but a lot of impact on the information technology, and then a lot of people say they admire them as Gutenberg in 15th centuries, invention of the printing system in 15th centuries. A lot of people admire those two guys as creation, new technology and computers. And then finally it led to they made a lot of information jobs, computer working jobs, computer related jobs, and internet related jobs. So one study is done about how many jobs actually they created for human beings, human history. According to one report, 3 million jobs. That's good, right? 3 million new jobs Bill Gates and Steve Jobs made for human beings. That's amazing number, right? But I want to say that today. That's good news. What about the bad news? You know what? 3 million jobs took over. How many jobs actually? How many traditional jobs? 3 million new jobs. Bill Gates and Steve Jobs. How many jobs actually they got rid of? Taking advantage of new technologies. That's another side, right? 24 million jobs. No, that's why we live in so tough competitions. Right up the graduating colleges. You know, I witnessed over 10 or 15 years. You are so great students. Most of you, I know, it's less than 1% in Korea. 1% right here, right? If I say the lineup 100, you are, most of you is 1 or 2, first or second, rank in terms of the academic performances in high schools. I know that. Very highly competing, the college entrance exam you passed, and then you came to the Korean university. And I witnessed that over several years. But still, so tough get your jobs right after your graduations. What happens? What happened? We live in the good society. We live in the very convenient society. Benefits from a lot of new technologies. Many people say that, right? Many people's really, utopian perspective about impact of the new technology. We're living today really good, really convenience, and we don't have to work many times, just 5 hours a day. We don't work on Saturday. You know what? We used to work on Saturday a few years ago, Korea. We work 6 days and we off 7th day. That's Sunday, right? We used to do that. But now, what about today? We work 5 days. So, why this kind of happens? That's actually an unemployment issue. It's a think about impact of the new technology. Sometimes good, sometimes it's really a lot of damages on the just the human lives. 3 million new jobs, 24 million jobs disappeared. One computers, you know what? One computer is doing a lot of works. Actually, I know the delivery, a lot of delivery men, a few years ago. A lot of delivery men. Why? Before the internet and emails and mobile phones, a lot of delivery man jobs, thousands and thousands of jobs, because they have to live and they can make monies by delivering papers and informations. But what about today? You easily send the email, right? So, disappearance of the delivery jobs. And what about a lot of cashiermen in bank? You know what? Bank was #1 jobs. The college students actually want to go. But what about today? Not many people, not many bankers actually work in their desk in their bank, because a lot of people, customers, actually electronic transition of their money, right? They don't have to go bank, just computers and internet and the mobile phone. Mobile phone take over transition of the money, and a number of bankers disappeared. A small, labor markets as technology develops. That's the actually terrible things we witness today. Not always good. That's happening together, right? So think about that. Think about unemployment issues. It's very important and emerging issues, undesirable, unanticipated, and really long-term effect of the new media technologies. So I like to back to our analog society, traditional society, and but how many of you actually can you imagine the lives without the mobile phone and internet? Can you imagine that? You know what? Some groups, some minor groups actually tried to do that without their mobile phone and internet. And they're really shouting to back to the our analog society 20 years ago and 30 years ago. So this is happening together. It's a lot of benefit from the technology. Also, we lost a lot of things, a lot of good things. That's my first choice of the keywords today. This is my second choice, second selection of the keywords. What kind of impacts of the new media technology on social levels and industrial levels? Restructuring of the social classes. You know what? Today we call the information society, right? Information society or knowledge society. And we back to our traditional society, probably the structure of the social class is like this. This is a traditional way we draw how we describe our social structures. A small number of the high class, a majority belong to middle class, right here, and a small number of the low class. Three important portion of the structures: high class, middle class, low class. So a lot of people in our populations belong to middle class. That's actually our traditional society, right? So how do you jump to the high class? In our traditional society, how do you say that? How do you jump to high society, high class society? By education most of the time, right? So you study hard in high school, and you go to the Harvard University, you go to the Seoul National University, you go to the Korea University. That's the shortcut way to join high class society, right? That's education. That's the things that our parents. Our parents used to say that. Hey, you study hard. Why you study hard? You live well, or you play the part of the high class, jump to high class. Education is very important, right? So we have the Korean old saying. I'm not saying the Korean now, okay? 개천에서 욕난다, right? 개천에서 욕난다. Dragons. A dragon is actually possibly dragon is from small creek. Then we say 개천에서 욕난다 means you study hard, you live in the very small creek, but you become the dragon in the future. We used to say that. What about today? What about today? Instead of the 개천에서 욕난다, okay, what about today?
The one who is rich, the one who gets high level of education,
Okay.
has a possibility of succeeding.
Right. So good background it should be important, and so usually good choice and good background and good families, but That's actually I want to change that. 개천에서 용난다. Instead of the 개천에서 용난다, I want to say this. 개천에서 용 쓴다, right? You know what I'm saying? 용 쓴다 means that's impossible to, flying, dragon flying. It's just you have to live there, right? 용 쓴다. 개천에서 욕한다. You criticize the society. And I'm here and I'm isolated in minor groups, but no way to move, no way to moving up, no way to jump to the high society. So a lot of people criticize that. That's the today. That's the say that. That's traditional, structure of the society. What about today? In information society and knowledge society, the restructuring of our social systems like this, small portions and high and low. What that means, a lot of people and scholars mention that today we're living in the age and society of the disappearance of the middle class. Disappearance of the middle class. No middle class. No middle class. So the people, the middle class people who utilize and taking advantage of the informations and are very skillful of the new technologies rarely jump to the high class. And then new technology and new media market, it's really far beyond of the middle class people's barriers. So a lot of a major portion of the middle class people, it's hard to follow the trends or change of our society and our technology, and they far behind of the social change, and they fell down to the low class of our society. That's assumptions. This is not a really theories, just a hypothesis. But a lot of scholars pointed that today we're living disappearance of the middle class and a small number of the high class who are savvy in information and technology and media technologies. They survive. They survive by taking advantage of the new technology. They easily make money. You know what? Money makes money, right? The people who has money easily make another money, additional money. And they keep their goals and they keep their path, and then they stay. They stay of the high class portion of the society. And then a lot of majority in our popularity is easily, fell down of the low class in the traditional society. So just remember the disappearance of the middle class. That's another situation we face today as the technology develops. That's why my second selection of the keywords, it should be in terms of social levels. I want to say the restructuring of our social class. Our social class. And then my third selection of the keywords in terms of a social aspect of the technology impacts, and inequality is actually between the rich and the poor, and the male groups and female groups, and the majority with the power and minority with the less power, and between urban side and countryside, and between developed countries and underdeveloped countries or developing countries. Inequality is actually not same levels of the distribution of the benefit of the new technology exist today between different groups, high class and low class. So the best example is actually developed countries and developing and underdeveloped countries. That's actually, we mentioned that, right? Cultural imperialism, right? Cultural imperialism. That's another perspective. And also digital divide. Digital divide. And also knowledge gap hypothesis in terms of education, right? High education people, high educated peoples and less educated peoples. In accessing new information, the gaps widen and widen as time goes on. That's knowledge gap hypothesis and information hypothesis. So inequality is another, important, keywords in terms of the social levels. So we know this knowledge gap theories I mentioned already, right? Gender in computer use that's actually used to big differences between male and female groups. But now the gap is actually really small, and sometimes literacy of the computer skills as a female groups is much higher than the male groups in some indexes. So gender issue in using of the new technology is long time, debating issues. Education levels and computer use, that's definitely true. And I just read the news articles today. You know what? 74% of the Korean peoples are at least college graduates. Really highly educated, the countries, Korea, right? Highly educated countries. So, but still education level is important variables which influenced in the impact of the new technologies. Okay? Ethnicity. You know what? Korea is a very homogeneous society, right? So ethnicity issue is more, the important in the multicultural society. But now it's actually Korea is face multinational and multi-ethnic countries. A lot of international marriages, and the number of the spouses who married and come to Korea is more than 1 million. So we're living in the multicultural society now, and different ethnicity and different races is very important factors which influence and decide of the impact of the technology is my selection of the keywords, ethnicity. This is really good, right? Information overload, too much information today. Everybody, experts, because you easily access the internet and database, and that's actually information's very important things and possessions. Information is very important factors who determine the level of their class in traditional society, right? But what about today? Everybody easily access to their database, and you can access any information you want to know, right? That's actually lead to too much information. As I showed at the examples, if you type in one keyword in the Naver or Google's, millions stories and articles and informations. How do you get really proper information you need? That's the very important questions. So the best way to survive today, the best jobs today, is actually we call information scientist. That's actually real jobs in the United States and European country. Information scientist. What they do? Information scientists do find the best information and the best database for clients. Because we're living too much information, right? Overload already. Overwhelming information is surrounding us. So information scientist or information seeker or information filter, whatever we call, and those are actually important jobs today. And why those jobs is important? That's actually too much information we have. So information overload is another social problems. Privacies. A few days ago, very interesting stories I found in the portal sites of Nave. 막걸리 couples in Ilsan, right? Wow. One couples. It looks like, I don't know, like it's about 30s and 40s, one couples, and just how I express that? It's not sleeping, right? Just drinking. Drinks. Makgeolli is a Korean traditional wine, and in the public park, and they slept. And somebody took the photos and posted in the blogs, and internet journalists capture that photo and then post in the Naver. Millions and millions of people actually used to go click on the very first page of the Naver portal sites, and then what happens? What happened? I don't know. Somebody did it actually. 신상 털기 means reveal the personal information, who they are. But that's terrible example of the invasion of the privacies, right? But still, reporter and journalist like very interesting photo, and no much they post in the portal sites. How they live, like that kind of situations. So we live in really so much invasion, so much intrusion of the your private life, because easily access. And you know what, CCTV, right? CCTV and hacking and emails. You know what? You type in one such keyword in the Naver and Google's. After you log in, what happens? Your all informations stored in your personal database actually installed in the Google sites. That's why you receive so many spam mails. You type in, for example, you type in camera, okay, camera. You type in camera, just the search engine, and search keywords camera. You type in that. Right up the login in Google sites. Google store your informations. Okay, the keywords camera in your personal database. And then Google's. How they do that? Google sell your information to advertisers. And then advertisers send emails about, hey, new cameras, new things, new brands to your emails. That's very important, expensive information about the customers, right? No way avoid your informations easily stored. So you type in, you access the internet, for example. All the internet has IP, Internet Protocols address. That's why you misconducted the cyber crimes that easily, easily catch. That kind of things happen today. So, privacy issues is very important, right? Privacy issues. That's social issues today we have of the new technologies. Copyright. What are positive word of the copyright? Yeah, thank you. Copyleft, right? Copyleft. Copyleft. Copyright is actually protect of the person who invents of the technology or skills or logics or arts, whatever. So copyright is more focused on, the good surround, good environments for the inventors to create and respect their creations. That's copyright, right? And what about the copyleft? Is more focused on advantage of the new technologies. And hey, it's time to share the good things without the really high cost. We share together because this is really good knowledge and really good information. Don't give too much property for inventors. Hey, we're going to share together. And for more goods, more common goods for the average peoples. That's copyleft. So copyleft argue that we say less royalty. You know what I'm saying? Less royalties. Copyright more focused on, hey, more support for the, now is actually United States and European countries who have a lot of new technology ideas and information. WTA, World Trade, actually supports, expand the time period of the copyright from the 50 years to 7 years. 7 years. 70, not 7 years, 70. Even after they died, they have to pay money. They have to pay money. 70 years to use their properties. That's what we call copyright. Actually, we call intellectual properties. You know what? Intellectual property. In Korean, 지적 재산권, right? Intellectual properties. That's actually properties, intellectual properties, and copyright. Copyleft. You know what? When copyleft started, actually, Richard Stallman. I don't know how many of you actually familiar with his name. Richard Stallman is actually argued that the overpower of the Bill Gates and Steve Jobs, too much power of the, right? The creation of their personal computers. That's not good for human history, human beings, all the peoples who live in the today. So Richard Stallman argued that the copyleft movements. And then now it's very popular, copyleft issues. So please remember, still keen debating between copyright movements versus and copyleft issues. You know, just another keywords. Walter Disney, we say Walter Disney contract. Walter Disney actually expanded the copyright guaranteed years from 50 to 70 years. Walter Disney, right? You know what Walter Disney, right? And then we call it Walter Disney contracts. So copyright support Walter Disney contract, and the copyleft is more focused on another way. Any questions, or otherwise moving on other social things? Yeah.
In the past, and then I know recently, I don't know how they've done recently, but they started accepting money for donations instead of
Right.
teaching them. What do you think about that in terms of?
You know what? That's another example. The copyright issue in the educations, in college, in the classroom, right? And actually, excuse me, this is a reading packet, as you see. But I'm not making money by selling this reading packet, right? This is only education purpose, right? So but still it's a copyright. It's a concern of copyright issue. So now today, it's actually university pay the copyright agent. I don't know which called exactly, but pay the almost 101 per students. 101 per student to the copyright agent, and then they collect the money and they paid it right here, the original, the author of the books, and then we use the whatever, and then for the only educational purpose, university pay the 101 per students per semester. A little money pay the agent for the free use of the all stuffs for the only educational purpose. Yeah, that's actually new policy, but a few years ago, we don't care about that. Right? I didn't care anything about just make copies of the. But now it's a very sensitive issues. Okay, guys. It's decentralizations. You know what decentralizations? This is very last part of the today class, and I'll give you the rest of the slides of the today lecture. You know, principle of relative constants and need theory and social learning theory. I'll talk about the on Wednesday. Okay. So panopticon is very important concepts. Decentralizations. You know what? This is another keywords we have to know. New media technology in terms of social levels brings our more freedoms. It's called the decentralized, or more strong ties and more monitoring, or more observations, and more pressures and more stress. It's actually from the centralizations. So decentralization is more likely more power for the each user and individuals. Centralization is actually given more power who has power already, like governments or bureaucratic groups and power groups. So that's the issue, decentralization and centralization, debating about the impact of the new technology in terms of social levels. So utopian perspective argue that decentralizations of the new technologies. Anti-utopian and dystopian groups argue that centralizations. You know what? The best example of the centralizations, you have to memorize that. Panopticon is Panopticon. Panopticon is a very fashionable, the most frequently cited concept of the centralizations of the new technologies. Panopticon. Okay, let's watch the video clips about what Panopticon means, what Panopticon is.
Today, not much escapes the eye of the law. Campgrounds have perched atop poles all along the highway, on the corners of buildings, in parking lots, apartment complexes, and inside stores, restaurants, and offices. The internet traffic is monitored now, almost globally, censored and watched in China and India, stored and scanned in England, and heavily monitored in the United States by the ISAT program, an NSA-mandated Leak Internet Oversight Project, enacted as a part of the controversial Patriot Act. Phone calls have been tapped without warning, and text messages are logged. Background checking companies access social networking sites where any number of acquaintances have tagged photographs of you anywhere and everywhere. Internet service providers keep logs of your internet use to create a consumer profile they sell to advertising companies and anyone else with enough money. You get nothing, aside from a privacy violation. Are you being watched? There's no longer any doubt about that. This continual observation of the public covers images of the Orwellian Big Brother. 1984's continually monitoring propaganda box installed in every citizen's home and work. It also makes you watch yourself, if only because you feel like you're being watched by someone else. Even if no one can see, you still fear the prying eye of your tattletale neighbor or a powerful government. You fear driving too fast because of speed traps and unmarked police cars. They could be lurking in an alley or behind a tree or sign somewhere. And if they aren't, there are cameras to automatically issue tickets. Officials even scan roadside camera footage to mail out tickets for parking violations when no one was around to personally take it to or move your car. This is the Panopticon. First designed by the English utilitarian social reformer Jeremy Bentham in 1785.
Jeremy Bentham is the inventor of this concept.
Surrounding a central tower. Atop this tower is a room circled by 360 degrees of one-way mirror, allowing for a gunman to see everyone, but for no one to see where he's aiming. Out of fear, prisoners watch themselves, assuming that they are targeted at any given moment. But with this sentiment of an invisible omniscience, it becomes unnecessary to even have an armed guard at all. Consider the infrequent amount of wiretapping and investigations now, despite heavy media coverage. Look around at all the dummy cameras that look exactly like the real thing, but reveal nothing at all. Is this not a modern technological panopticon? French philosopher Michel Foucault transformed this concept into what he termed disciplinary society. Fear at all times the eye of the law. Because we know we might be watched and might therefore be punished, we obey whatever laws are enacted, and even fear to speak out against those laws that seem unfair. So why is the panopticon an evil mechanism? Some might claim that despite violating privacy and personal liberties, that constant surveillance seriously produces criminal activity. Perhaps, but in the absence of cameras, in a power outage, by cutting the cables, by masking your IP address, or making unhonest phone calls in phone booths, crime will thrive. This is because the fear of discipline has replaced mankind's preference for ethics and morality. People fear the police rather than attempt to make positive decisions merely for the sake of being a good citizen. They broadcast their good deeds on MySpace or Facebook to show everyone how compassionate they are. This is not merely selfish promotion in the guise of charity. Replacing the individual morality and the democratic evolution of an ethical system with a central lawmaking body that has eyes all over the globe and an unrestricted permit to kill and imprison makes a simulacra of our decision-making abilities. Our kindnesses and distaste for unethical behavior are delegated to others. Why think about what's wrong when someone else is there to do it for you? Why apprehend approval when someone else is there to catch them? Under the all-knowing, all-seeing eye of the modern panopticon, no one cares, and those that do are afraid to speak up.
Okay, guys. Okay, that's a good panopticon, and it's a really anti-utopian and very negative, and the best example of the perspective. And I'll talk about more about panopticon beyond the when.